Greetings from the Asian Productivity Organization Secretariat. Welcome to all viewers to this APO's Productivity Talk, a series of discussion on the topics related to productivity. We are now broadcasting this event live from Tokyo. Today, our topic of discussion will revolve around various measures and public policy supports to address the development of small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs. Examples of success stories, both at the policy level and at firm level productivity enhancement, will also be the highlight of our talk today. A particular reference will be made to the cases of Pakistan, where there are currently quite a number of initiatives being carried out in enhancing productivity in SMEs. So the topic on SMEs is again being presented due to the fact that they are important contributors to not only employment but also inclusive economic growth in almost all economies. To discuss about this subject, we are joined today by Nadia Seth. She is currently the head of the Policy and Planning Division of Small and Medium Enterprises Development Authority, SMEDA, Government of Pakistan. Her work primarily involves facilitating, undertaking policymaking, as well as providing overall planning, programming, research, and evaluation of matters relating to SMEs. She was also part of the team in the development of the first Pakistan's SME policy. It was in 2007. She is now currently leading the exercise for the revision of the SMEs policy in Pakistan. So before Nadia start with her sharing, I would like to inform all viewers that today's session will be interactive. So I'm inviting the viewers to leave comments and questions in the live chat below. Nadia, you may please start with your sharing.
Thank you, Sonny. While I put up the presentation on the screen, I'd first of all like to thank the APO Secretariat for giving Pakistan the opportunity to share its SME development experience. So when we started talking with the APO Secretariat on what I would be focusing on my talk and why focus on Pakistan, it got me thinking as to what is the importance of this country and what are the key features and strengths of this country, when it just hit me right there, it was right there in front of me, that we are a country, the fifth largest country in terms of our population. We're 220 million people, consumers and producers. That's where our strength is. A youth bulge of over 63% of our people are in the working age cohort. That means we have a very young population. When it comes to digitization, we are about 167 million cellular phone consumers. That's a tele-density of about 78.84%. Whether you're talking about services, whether you're talking about trade, whether you're talking about agriculture, Pakistan has it all. So I thought that I'd begin by sharing some of the work that the government of Pakistan has been doing for SME development in the country. To walk you through the presentation, the way that I have structured it, I'll be sharing this with you, is why focus on SMEs overall. So why is it that globally SMEs are very important and they attract the attention of governments in terms of providing them support and different services? There are certain challenges that are addressed, and how are those challenges addressed globally? And then in the context of Pakistan, how and what kind of a contribution do SMEs provide to the economy? What kind of support policies have been put in place? So I will be also sharing some of the success stories and some of the current work that the government of Pakistan is doing for SME development. Now, when we talk of the MSME sector, we all know that in terms of the number of firms, over 90% of firms around is provided to that individual. When it comes to the electricity support program, so the electricity connections of that is part of the documentation in the country, that there is documented number of commercial and industrial users of electricity. So that data set has been used in this instance for identifying small and medium firms are below a certain threshold of utilization of energy, of electricity, has been used to identify firms for that are being subsidized, that are being provided support by the government of Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that explanation. So allow me now to take another question from Mr. Carlos Rodriguez. Is pointing out into the regulation side on the SMEs, particularly in Pakistan. So how is it the situation there with regard to startup, for example? Is regulations actually helping to stimulate startups to grow, or because in many cases sometimes the regulation is the blocking factor. How is it now, this situation there? This is from Mr. Carlos Rodriguez.
Good question, Carlos. The startup scene in Pakistan, over if in the term, the way the term is used is mostly related to high tech firms that are starting up, and we're not talking about very traditional businesses. Now, in order to support such firms, an entire entrepreneurial ecosystem has to be built, and that's what the government is also focusing on. So a sandbox has been launched by the SECP, the Securities and Exchange Commission of the country, that can support startups, especially in the area of technology. Gradually, regulations are being eased so that instead of serving as an impediment to growth, or as an impediment for firms to come into and start doing business, they are provided support. There are provided incubation and acceleration facilities, so that hand-holding is available also, and the regulatory side is also taken care of. At this point in time, if you talk about an entrepreneurship policy, we don't have an entrepreneurship policy, but that's what we're looking at addressing through the SME policy, with a special focus on entrepreneurship development that looks at the regulations, the licensing side, so that it does not deter people from starting their own businesses.
Thank you for that. Another question, perhaps the last two questions that I have. There are plenty more, but for the sake of the time, so I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to take all those questions. This is from Akira Suzuki. So with regard to FDI, foreign direct investments for SME in Pakistan, how is it the strategy of the government, of Pakistan to attract FDIs and address it to SME sector there? Nadia?
Okay. So when it comes to FDI, the government of strategy, the lead institution in this regard is the Board of Investment, and a sectoral strategy has been developed. That's the sectoral approach has been developed. The investment strategy is available. There are certain sectors, there are certain high growth, high potential sectors that are identified. Those include agro-food processing. Being an agrarian country, agro-food processing is one specific area that there is potential for growth, and that is where we are also focusing on. Horticulture. ICT is another very lucrative and growing area of support. And bringing this investment to the SMEs, that's where the role of SMEDA also comes in. So we have identified potential opportunities for attracting investment into different projects across the country based on regional endowments. This information is available in the form of pre-feasibility studies that are available with the organization, with SMEDA, and on our website and in our offices for supporting SMEs and to attract investment in particular sectors. They range from related to agriculture to horticulture, agro-food processing. You're talking about within the manufacturing sector, there's leather. In the services sector, you're talking about the education sector, the health sector, the ICT, the information communication technology. So all this information in terms of how and what needs to be done and where are the potential areas for investment are available readily available to attract foreign direct investment in the country, and specifically to the SME sector.
So another question, this is related with the production process, which day by day becoming like more complex and interconnected. This applies perhaps not only for SMEs, but also for any companies or manufacturing industry, for example. So what would be, the best policy response for this, particularly for SMEs?
I think the best policy response for this is digitization and automation. That's where we're working at. That's where we've seen results. In the last year, there's been a 17% growth in the internet penetration in the country. And if you look at the statistics, I'm sure this unfortunate COVID situation since February till now, probably there has been the fastest growth in terms of onboarding of businesses on e-commerce platforms, and also adoption because of labor related issues in the production process also. So automation, digitization is the answer.
All right, I think we still have time for one more question, which perhaps the last question that I have. This is with regard to, as you mentioned also in your presentation, that integrating the operation of SMEs with global value chain is one of the way to increase or to enhance productivity. So I think, a lot of efforts, has been currently, being tried by many governments or even private sector to do just this, but it's not really easy. What are, do you think, the prerequisites so this kind of approach or strategy can be successful?
I think your trade policy, the trade liberalization is very important here. Big geography matters when we talk about integrating into global value chain, and I think location of a country within the overall framework of the way the global value chains are configured, and within a particular country itself. So when I say big geography and small geography, by small geography I mean is the cluster location, the specialized zones that can be created within a country to attract investment and for firms to integrate into global value chains. That's another area that I think is very important. The other thing is the investment incentives that are offered by a particular country have an important role to play for integrating into global value chain. Manufacturing competitiveness, of course, is again extremely important, and in fact this is more of a chicken and egg situation, because when you look at literature, you have you will find evidence that supports that integrating into global value chains increases investment in the host country and vice versa. So this is an area that has to be looked into, and integration of course requires investment in tangible and intangible assets. So for integration into global value chains, the right kind of policy framework in terms of trade liberalization and ease and reduction in transportation costs in the logistical network that is available is very important.
All right, I'm afraid that this is the end of our talk today. I would like to thank the viewers for the engagement. So if you still have comments or questions, please leave them on our YouTube channel, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we could. I'm sure that Nadia will be very happy to provide us with the answer. I would like also to express our gratitude to Nadia for your sharing time, for sharing your time and experience with us. And to all viewers, if you like to receive update on the future P-Talk or any other updates related to APO, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, thanks to you, Nadia, and all the viewers, wishing everyone to stay safe and productive. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you, Sony and APO. Thank you.